Okay. This isn't a book. It's a hatchet. I don't need that. Who else needs a cleaner desk? Book. Getting into it. Because... Shit, I lost my page. Because, it's 8:21. I got off work early. I forgot to do this over my time off. And by forgot, I mean I voluntarily played other video games. Did I smack the microphone, too? I don't apologize. Where am I? Is it chapter 8? There isn't a chapter 8, Craig. Where the fuck are we? Launched a boat. Plant. Okay. 6, right? No. Your appearance is no different than a man. I will tell you the secret of the gods. There we go. Okay, we're there. Sorry. I'm a mess. The story of the flood. Wait, who's reading right now? I don't know what voice to do. You're just starting with dialogue. I don't know what you... I assume... Hold on. Who spoke last in the last chapter? It was, Utnapishtim. What was Utnapishtim's voice? Anybody? Bueller? Okay. I mean, he's supposed to be, a god, right? God, mortal man god. Maybe this is his voice. I don't know. I've done so many deep voices for this one. Yeah, fuck it. We'll make it. You know that city, Shurapak. It stands on the banks of Euphrates. That city grew old, and the gods that were in it were old. There was Anu, lord of the firmament, their father, and warrior Enlil, their counselor. Ninurta, the helper, and Inugi, watcher over canals. And with them also was Ea. In those days the world teemed, and the people multiplied. The world bellowed like a great bull, and the great god was aroused by the clamor. Enlil heard the clamor, and he said to the gods, "Uproar of mankind is intolerable, and sleep is no longer possible by the reason of the babel." So the gods agreed to exterminate mankind. We can't sleep. Fuck it. No one lives. Enlil did this, but Yah, because of his oath, warned me in a dream. He whispered their words, "To my house of reeds. Reed house, reed house. Wall, O wall, hearken, reed house, wall reflect. O man of Shurapak, son of Ubarututu, tear down your house and build a boat. Abandon your possessions and look for life. Despise worldly goods and save your soul alive. Tear down your house, I say, and build a boat." If gods just wake you up and say that, tear down your house and build a boat, you tear down your house and you build a boat. These are the measurements for the bark as you shall build her. Let her beam equal her length. Let her deck be roofed like the vault that covers the abyss. Then take up the boat, the seed of all living creatures. Basically, Noah's Ark. When I had understood, I said to my lord, "Behold, what you have commanded I will honor and perform. But how shall I answer the people, the city, the elders?" Then Ea opened his mouth and said to me, his servant, "Tell them this. I have learned that Enlil is wrathful against me. I dare no longer walk in his land nor live in his city. I will go down to the gulf and dwell with Ea my lord. But on you he will rain down abundance, rare fish, and shy wildfowl. A rich harvest tide In the evening, the rider of the storm will bring you wheat in torrents. It should still be good, right? Soaked wheat is good, right? That's why we keep it in silos to keep them dry. We'll be alright, guys. Just pluck it right out of the water. In the first light of dawn, all my household gathered round me. The children brought pitch, and the men whatever was necessary. On the 5th day, I laid the keel and the ribs. That was pretty fast. And then I made fast the planking. The ground space was 1 acre. Each side of the deck measured 120 cubits, making a square. I built 6 decks below, 7 in all. I divided them into 9 sections with bulkheads between. This is very sophisticated for the time. I drove the wedges where needed. I saw to the punt holes, and I laid supplies. The carriers brought oil in baskets. I poured pitch into the furnace, and asphalt and oil. More oil was consumed in caulking, and more, again, the master of the boat took into his stores. I slaughtered bullocks for the people, and every day I killed sheep. I gave the shipwrights wine to drink as though it were river water. We wanted our men really efficient, so we got them sloshed the fuck out of here. And red wine and oil and white wine. Ugh. Red wine and oil? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. There was feasting. I almost said festering. Ugh. Then there is at the time of the New Year's festival, I myself anointed my head. Isn't someone else supposed to do that for you? On the 7th day, the boat was complete. You guys built this ark in a week. Dang. I don't see that efficiency except in Japan. Then was the launching full of difficulty. There was shifting of ballast above and below. 2/3 was submerged. I loaded into her all that I had of gold and of living things, my family, my kin, the beasts of the field, both wild and tame, and all craftsmen. I sent them on board. For the time that Shamash had ordained was already fulfilled, when he said, in the evening, when the rider of the storm sends down the destroying rain, enter the boat and batten her down. The time was fulfilled. The evening came. The rider of the storm sent down the rain. I looked out to the weather, and it was terrible. So I too boarded the boat and battened her down. All was complete, and the battening and the caulking. So I handed the tiller to Pazua Murray, of course, the steersman, with the navigation and the care of the whole boat. This man, who had been unnamed thus far, had responsibility for navigation and steering. Phenomenal individual. With the first light of dawn, a black cloud came from the horizon. I can't talk enough about him. He's, bar none, the best man I ever heard. I'm sure you've heard me talk about him, right? It thundered within where Adad, lord of the storm, was riding. In the front of over the hill and plain, Shulat and Hanish, heralds of the storm, led on. Then the gods of the abyss rose up. Nurgle pulled out the dams of the nether waters. Ninurta, the warlord, threw down the dikes, and the 7 judges of hell, the Anunnaki, raised up their torches, lighting the land with their livid flame. I didn't think to tell them water and fire don't mix, but when the judges of hell crawl out of the hole, you let them do what they damn well please. A stupor of despair went up to heaven when the god of the storm turned daylight to darkness, when he smashed the land like a cup. One whole day the tempest raged, gathering fury as it went. It poured over the people like the tides of battle. A man could not see his brother, nor the people be seen from heaven. Even the gods were terrified of the flood. What did we do? Guys! What did we do? Cowering like curs, they fled to the highest heaven, the firmament of Anu. They crouched against the walls. Then Ishtar, the sweet-voiced queen of heaven, cried out like a woman in travail. Alas, how the days of old are turned to dust because I commanded evil. Why did I command this evil? In the what is this word? It's all not. I think it says council. It's all not really visible. It's terribly inked. We're gonna move on. Of all the gods, I commanded wars to destroy the people, but they are not my people, for I brought them forth. Now, like the spawn of fish, they floated the ocean. This is what she wanted. The great gods of heaven and of hell wept. They covered their mouths. For 6 days and 6 nights the winds blew, torrent and tempest and flood, and overwhelmed the world. It was all a mess. Tempest and flood raged together like warring hosts. When the 7th day dawned, the storm from the south subsided, and the sea grew calm. The flood was stilled. I looked at the face of the world, and there was silence. All mankind was turned to clay. The surface of the sea stretched as flat as a rooftop. I opened the hatch, and the light fell on my face. Then I bowed low. I sat down and wept. The tears streamed down my face, for on every side was the waste of water. I looked for land in vain, but 14 leagues distant appeared a mountain, and there the boat grounded. On the mountain of Nissar the boat held fast. She held fast and did not budge. One day she held, and on the 2nd day the mountain of Nissar she held fast and did not budge. On the 3rd day, she didn't budge. And the 4th day, she didn't budge. And the 5th and 6th, she held fast to the mountain. 7th day, I loosed a dove and let her go. Because I had those. I had every animal. Didn't you hear me? When she flew away, but finding no resting place, she returned. Then I loosed a swallow, and she flew away, but finding no resting place, she returned. Then I loosed a raven. She saw the waters had retreated. She ate, flew around, cawed, and did not come back. Then I threw everything open to the 4 winds. I made a sacrifice and poured out a libation. On the mountaintop, 7 cauldrons I set up on their stands. I heaped up wood and cane and cedar and myrtle. When the gods smelled the sweet savor, they gathered like flies over the sacrifice. Then, at last, Ishtar came. She lifted her necklace with the jewels of heaven that once Anu had made to please her. Oh, you gods here present! By the lapis lazuli around my neck, I shall remember these days, as I remember the jewels of my throat. These last days I shall not forget. Let all the gods gather round the sacrifice except Enlil. He shall not approach this offering, for without reflection he brought the flood. Wait a minute. Wasn't he the guy that warned everybody? Hold up. No, it was EA. Okay. He shall not approach his offering. When Enlil had, he consigned my people to destruction. Sure did. When Enlil had come, when he saw the boat, he was wrath, swelled at the anger of the gods, the host of heaven. Has any of these mortals escaped? Not one of them has survived this destruction. Then the god of the wells and the canals of Ninurta opened his mouth and said to the warrior Enlil, Who is there of the gods that can devise without Yah? It is Yah alone who knows all things. Then Yah opened his mouth and spoke to the warrior Enlil. Wisest of the gods, hero Enlil, how could you so senselessly bring down the flood? I don't know if the next part is a poem or a reply from Enlil, but it's all in italics and it's its own separate part of the paragraph. So, lay upon the sinner his sin, lay upon the transgressor his transgression. Punish him a little when he breaks loose. Do not drive him too hard, or he perishes. Would that a lion had ravaged mankind rather than the flood. Would that a wolf had ravaged mankind rather than the flood. Would that famine had wasted the world rather than the flood. I don't know, I mean, maybe a flood is a little bit better than famine. I'm just saying, I'd rather have a shot at swimming or drowning. Actually, I'm terrified of open water. Maybe I could survive famine. I'll eat dirt rather than the flood. Would that pestilence? No, I don't. Maybe the flood's faster than pestilence. I'm just saying. But the ocean would become everything. maybe it'd still be okay because aquatic animals have a really like fragile pH, right? So maybe it'd be okay. It was not I that revealed the secrets of the gods. The wise man had learned it in a dream. Now take your counsel. What shall be done with him? Then Enlil went up to the boat. He took me by the hand and my wife and made us enter the boat and kneel down on either side, he standing between us. He touched our foreheads to bless us, saying, in the past. Sorry. In the past. I gotta do that. It's a god thing. Utnapishtim was a mortal man. Henceforth he and his wife shall live in the distance at the mouth of the rivers. Thus it was that the gods took me and placed me here to live at the distance at the mouth of the rivers. So it's very confusing to me, Gilgamesh, that you found a way here. That's it. Boom. Done. 16 minutes, half the time we normally have. It was a short chapter, to be fair. Next one's chapter 6. I hope you guys liked it. I tried to put a little bit more energy into this. I'd like to maybe put some music in. I was actually going to have some playing now, but with the new microphone and just in general, I don't know how that would sound. It would probably sound a heck of a lot better if I added it in at the end during rendering. And YouTube has a way to do that, but it doesn't really have a way for me to mix the sounds. So it usually produces really unsatisfactorily. So once again, without an editing tool, we might just have to deal with solely my voice and the sound of my cat's watering dish when I forget to unplug it. So I hope you guys have a good one. It's now 8:37. I just downloaded Resident Evil Biohazard, and I think I'm going to stream it. So, we'll see you in the next one, guys.